my friend Sue, she's an older woman on 7th and Pearl.
Are you missing work right now?
Yeah.
Miss Benton, would you come up and have a seat? Miss Benton is here for sentencing and a charge of retail fraud second degree. And she has a new warrant for her arrest and a new charge of retail fraud second degree.
Who is
File
this?
24457 SM. You don't even know about this one yet. This, let me pull these up. They left me a note, said warrant out, and they gave me this other file, but I don't have both files. Darn it. Well, the one that's set for 9 o'clock this morning alleged that on or about November 13th at the Meyer store, you sold $38.47 worth of stuff. And you added a plea to that, and it was set for sentencing today. Let me look at my notes. You owed $165 in an earlier case. I set the sentencing for this morning to see if you paid on the other case. 231582.
Yeah, I just started working. Yesterday will be my second week at Fiber Converters.
You started working at Fiber Converters in Constantine?
Yeah.
Are you working in the shop?
Yeah, I work first shift, so.
That's hard work. You had a retail fraud in file 231582 that occurred on November 6th of 2023. And that was $40 to Walmart. And I think a man paid your fines. One of my viewers on YouTube, a very generous man, I won't say where he's from, paid your fine, which is more than you did. I adjourned this from November to April, and so far you paid none, but he called and wanted to know what to do to pay the fine, and he paid it. I won't say his name. He doesn't want any recognition. He's done some other things over the years. He's paid some people civil judgments. Then you had another retail fraud on November 13th, which is this one, 2429. And then you have another one I got to find, which occurred in December. So I'm in here bending over backwards, not to put you in jail and to work with you. And I adjourned the matter and you didn't pay 1 cent. Someone else paid your fine. And then on December 21st, you get charged again with retail fraud. So let's look at that one. Are you aware of this, Melissa?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
It's an incident at Meyer again.
24. It's not in here.
The 24457.
No, we do it by file number. Sometimes they spell their name wrong. All right, I don't know why this isn't in here, but I found it by using the file number. It's like a damn scavenger hunt. All right, it is alleged that on, this says 1221, the complaint says 1231. This has got all kinds of problems. That you were at the Meyer store and you did alter, transfer, remove, replace, or otherwise misrepresent the price at which the property was for sale, charged as a second or subsequent, making it a misdemeanor punishable by up to a year in jail. And they found you through your Michigan ID card. She was observed concealing merchandise in her purse as she walked throughout the store, and also removed the UPS stickers from cheaper items and placed them on more expensive items. She went to the self-checkout and scanned the more expensive items with the cheaper items on the UPS sticker. Benton made no attempt to pay for the concealed items and left the store. Total merchandise $192.37. Leads me to believe that you aren't getting the message. Ms. Halleck, let's talk about the case that was set for today. I'm disappointed that she didn't pay anything, but someone did pay on her behalf. I do have $200 of bond, and I told her the sentence in this case would be $200.
I don't know what the answer is. She's I don't know why someone knowing that they have to come to court and answer to your honor and has done nothing.
I haven't had any means to pay it. I just started working.
Well, and that's fine. That was my struggle when I was dealing with you back in November.
And I get paid bi-weekly there, so
Are you still living on Hooker Avenue?
no, I haven't been there for,
Are you, where are you?
I'm currently just staying at, my friend Sue, she's an older woman on Seventh and Pearl,
Are you missing work right now?
yeah.
And how long have you been there?
This will be my third week, I wanna say, cause I had, started on a Wednesday, so, yeah, this is my third week.
Well, I'm gonna do the sentence I told her I was gonna do. What did you think? You didn't know yet a new charge. They didn't authorize it until March. We confirmed that you're working at Fiber Converters. I tell everybody that works there, do everything my cousin Buddy tells you to do and you'll be just fine. You put up with his grouchiness. He works hard.
Yes, it is.
I'm very unhappy about this. The only thing you got going for is you got a job. I felt like giving you 90 days in jail. That man generously paid your fine, you did none. Then you go steal again after I bend over backwards not to, you won't be able to shop anywhere. You're barred from Myers, you're barred from Walmart.
Being able to get a job is a huge thing. We see many people that don't have an ID, aren't able to even get employment. So if that were maintained through her next appearance, that would be very favorable to her, obviously.
I think I have $200 of bond here. Which case are you here on, sir? What's your name?
Elton McLean.
Okay, I've got your file.
So I had showed, trying to find, the courthouse. Plus there was the roads were closed down, school crash over there.
Yeah, you can't get here from Schoolcraft.
So I do apologize for being late now.
Well, you're here now, so I'm glad. We have your email address. You have $200 of bond posted by your benefactor. $39 of restitution, $36 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, $50 state minimum fee, $200 of bond, barred from Walmart.
I get paid on the 29th.
I'm not worried about money. I'm worried about what to do with you. You keep stealing stuff. This is your fifth or sixth retail fraud here. You had already done this retail fraud when I saw you in January. You hadn't been seen on it yet. You didn't know they were requesting a warrant. They have video of you apparently doing this. But this is a damn nuisance because the file isn't where it's supposed to be under your name. And under the criminal, they've got a general civil cases in there. So I have to look for it by the case number. So let me see if I can get back into that.
This new case, let's see, I authorized, and I didn't even start working till the end of
Yeah, it
February,
got authorized on
beginning of March.
March
so,
12th. It took a while probably for them to complete the investigation.
Yeah, so
So this isn't in my queue here and it isn't under her name, Christy Benton, but it is under the file number 1231. It was reported. You'd actually been into the office and talked to the lady. So yeah, you knew you'd been charged with it, but they submitted it later. Well, I'm going to show a plea of not guilty. I'm going to appoint an attorney, set attorney pretrial for May 31st at 8:30. Some point, now at this point, you're presumed to be not guilty of this, but they're alleging that you stole $192 worth of stuff by sticking some of it in your purse and underringing the other stuff. Just after I twisted myself into a pretzel to not put you in jail. Then you did zero to pay on any of the stuff that you had. And I understand that you were in dire straits, but none. So at some point, there could be a jail consequence, which could be work release or otherwise, but I don't want you to lose your job. Let's set the bond at $250 PR. You need to get fingerprinted on this charge and mug shot. They're gonna fingerprint you. I want you to go out to the counter, sign the PR bond, get a notice for May 31st at 8:30. We're gonna give you the attorney's name and number. This is a compulsive theft. And we were talking about different kinds of theft this morning. I don't know what you allegedly stole. It was worth $192.37. I'm assuming it was food and household items. Can you tell what it was from what you're looking at?
No, I can't actually. It just says she put miscellaneous items into a bag.
So the existing one is done. The benefactor paid your fine and the other thing and actually posted this $200, which is an accounting problem for us. But this new charge, right now, you can't go into Myers and you can't go into Walmart. So I guess you have to shop at Aldi's or Harding's. And when you get out to the counter, I want you to give your correct address. We have your email address. So we'll get an attorney for you. Remember, you can't go into Myers, you can't go into Walmart. I guess then you can get back to work. Would you take both of these out? Thank you. I have the affidavit. Do you have any report on that or just the affidavit, Melissa?
Oh, let me look. I closed it out.
Ms. Campbell, can you hear me?
I can now. Yes, sorry.
Very good. Please don't smoke during the proceeding. We're about to start a real process, but good morning. Lance, can you hear me also?
I can.
All right, very good. Let's get started. We set this a little early. We had missed some landlord tenant dates and we set this at 8:45. I appreciate everybody being here in a timely manner. This is a second hearing. We were previously here on April 8th. And so because I was gone, we had to move it from the 8th all the way to the 26th. At the time we were here, the arrearage was $3,035. It looks like the defendant, no, we have the exact same numbers.
No, they
no,
have
we don't.
changed, Your Honor.
They have changed. So through April. Well, at this point, Mr. Thornton has provided what I value, his judgment information form, which contends that rent and late fees through April are $2,535. Plus, so your number doesn't add up. Plus 183.67. That 321894 is the number we had last time, but she's apparently paid some. So let's add those two numbers on it. 2535.27 plus 183.67. That equals 2,718.94. That's why I was a little mixed up.
I agree.
Defendant has paid $500 rent since moving in. Defendant did pay the $800 security deposit. So Ms. Campbell, you had indicated you were going to get a tax refund and you had asked for some emergency help. What's your status?
I've made a deal with the landlord. I'm paying $500 every week until it's paid off. They have agreed to take my payments as $500 every week in return to not write a writ to have me removed. So far, I have paid $900, not $500. $900 has been posted to my rent. I did receive my state refund. Federal should be coming any day, so I should not have to pay $500 every week for long.
Mr. Thorne, do you have any knowledge of that?
I do not, Your Honor. I received from Judy Shepherd, the manager, yesterday an updated tenant ledger showing the $500 payment made by Miss Campbell. But I am not aware of an additional $400 payment, nor have I been notified that any agreement's been reached.
Well, as I told you last time, Miss Campbell, they don't have to evict you on the 10th day. The date for the writ from today will be May 6th.
I'm confused. I have it in writing. I have it in writing from
Okay.
Judy Shepherd
All right.
saying
That
that
I was going to tell you to get it in writing.
I do have it in writing, sir.
Okay. Then that is subject to the agreement with the landlord, and you shall receive credit for all payments made.
Yes, the $400 was posted yesterday morning.
Yeah, all right, let me go back. I hadn't turned the record on. We're dealing with file 24327 LT, Walnut Meadows Apartments LLC versus Robin Campbell. Lance Thornton is here on behalf of the complex, and Robin Campbell is here by Zoom. Also joining us is attorney Meg Bauer from legal aid in Kalamazoo. The numbers reflect some payment was made. The rent arrearage is 253527. And the court costs are 183.67. The total due through April is 2,718.94. Of course, on May 1st, another month's rent is going to be due. The date for the, just a minute.
Okay.
The date for the writ would be May 6th. Now, this document is called a judgment. It says how much is due. You could be liable for money damages if you move and additional rent is owed. Acceptance of a partial payment will not prevent the writ of eviction, and no money judgment is entered at this time. Mr. Thornton, as their lawyer, is always a little bit of a disadvantage when they make an agreement without telling their lawyer about it. But you got it in writing, which is what I would recommend you to do. So you know how much is due and you plan to pay it. You shall receive credit for all payments made. And so if other payments were made that haven't reflected here. So what this means is if they come in and ask for a writ within 10 days, I won't do a writ of eviction unless I have a hearing first, in which case you can present your written agreement with the landlord. But it sounds like if you get your tax refunds, this whole thing may be paid off and it may go away, and after May, things will go fine. But let me repeat this. I've done this judgment in the numbers we discussed. You shall receive credit for all payments made, and I won't do any writ of eviction unless we have a hearing first. So they have 56 days from today to ask for the writ of eviction, and actually 56 more days before they serve it. But this should be resolved within those 56 days.
Yep.
But if at some point they're asking for a writ, we'll have a hearing to see what the terms of your agreement are. Is that acceptable to you, Mr. Thornton?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll say C, judgment. All right, it was okay to get a little bit of a head start on our morning to get this case resolved. All right, Miss Campbell, good luck to you. Well, we're waiting for Miss Richmond to join us. There
Here I
they are.
am.
Back from special engagement in the Florida Keys, Terry Richmond, back in Michigan. Let me take care of this case ahead of yours,
Okay.
and then we'll address yours. Mr. Heisman, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, we went through your advice of rights. Mr. Matheny has joined us. He's here at the courthouse. This is a circumstance where you're both living in the same house, 212 South Monroe Street. And Mr. Matheny wants you to move. What's your position?
Being that he's my stepfather, I guess I have to do what you would like.
Have you taken any action to find another place to go?
Yes, I have. I've got some of my stuff moved out. It's a little touch and go on transportation from how far my storage shed is, and I got um two places I'm looking at moving into. One being my mother, one being my aunt, but nothing's 100% right now.
All right. Mr. Matheny, the law requires that I adjourn this matter for 7 days. The law changed a few years ago during COVID. They used to get 10 days from this date to move out. It sounds like Herman is working on um, doing that. He had some stuff with me earlier this year and he took care of all of his obligations regarding those matters. But the law requires that I adjourn this for 7 days, which would be next Friday, May 3rd. And we would set this for 1:40 on Friday, May 3rd.
And if I'm out by before that date, do I show up to court still?
No, you don't. I'll
Okay,
give
thank
you
you.
instructions regarding that. If you've moved out by that date, you need to turn in your keys and give your forwarding address in writing to your landlord. But if you've moved by that date, you don't need to appear.
Okay, thank you.
Now, let me tell you what else.
Yes, sir.
If you don't move by that date, Mr. Matheny can get an order. Well, I would order you to move out within 10 days of that day, which would be May 16th. If you don't move by that date, the sheriff could come put your stuff out. But I get these cases almost every month where people are living in the same house, they're related, they were friends, they're not, and the landlord simply wants their property back.
What about
He
the
wants
any more stuff?
Excuse me, sir?
He's got this girlfriend that lives there, and she is crazy. The neighbors called me 10 minutes after I got to work. The case number's 1393, I believe, or 1939. And she was outside. I know we're getting to work at 6 o'clock in the
Well, I
morning.
don't know anything about her. She's not listed anywhere. What's
She
her?
lives there though. Asking me, she lives there.
Well, okay, what's her name?
Cheyenne Smith.
Say that again.
Cheyenne Smith.
So are you both gonna go? Just a minute, Mr. Matheny, you're not represented by a lawyer. You're doing this yourself. The only move to evict Herman. She's not on, but you did include and all others. So she is included as all others.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. Heisman, if you're both out, you turn in the keys. You don't need to be here next week.
Yep.
If you're not, we'll have a further hearing at 1:40 on May 3rd.
Okay.
Mr. Matheny,
Yes, sir.
same thing, if he turns in the keys and moves, you don't need to be here either. But if he doesn't, you can come in just like you did today.
And what about destroying more things? They broke a window. She broke.
Well, they aren't supposed to do that. If they move out, you can ask for money damages or sue them in small claims court.
I admit the window.
What?
I admit the window. That was mine. Nothing else I've ever destroyed. I've never destroyed anything but the window.
All right.
I got
witnesses. All right.
I have witnesses that seen your girlfriend do it.
Okay. Now, once he moves out, you can assess how much damage he did and file a lawsuit in small claims court to collect money. This is not a money hearing. This is just a possession hearing to get him out. So, and don't destroy any more property and moving out, and
Yes,
you
sir.
need to take the other person with you.
Yes.
But if nobody's here next Friday, I'll assume you moved. If you didn't, we'll have a further hearing on the matter.
Okay, no problem.
All right, you're good to go. All right, Mr. Matheny, if you have any questions, contact the court. But otherwise, if he's gone, we won't be here next week. If he is, we'll discuss it further. Again, once he moves, assess what all the damage is, and if you want to sue them in small claims court, you can do that. All right, we actually got one jump ahead. This case is set for 9/10. It's now 9/14. It's Terry and Larry Richmond versus Jeremy and Jane Price. Who do you
Your
have with
Honor,
you, Ms. Richmond?
I
Yes?
have Jane Price.
All right.
Are we on YouTube?
Yes, and this is the one we discussed,
Yes.
and I'm going to stop this for a moment. And that's why I thought I would do the other one. We'll stop the live stream. There are some issues that the parties discussed with me in advance that they don't wish to put on the YouTube channel. So this is file 2-3. This is an old case, 57ST. Are you Zachary Hilliard?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hilliard told me he watches our live streams. I told him today he gets to see himself. Good morning to you, sir. You got a ticket way back in March of 2020, excuse me, January of 2023 for driving without a valid license. You didn't show up for your arraignment. We did a show cause hearing. You didn't show up for that. And a bench warrant issued with a $300 bond. And you got arrested on April 9th and posted a bond on April 9th. So let's talk about this. Let me look it up. There's more than enough bond money to pay any fine here. You're charged with having no license ever acquired, which is a different form of driving suspended. It doesn't carry any points. I don't think. No, it carries 2 points. It doesn't carry a suspension, I don't believe. No license ever applied. They allege you were driving a car on January 12th of 23, Riverside Drive at Miller Road out in the country, and you didn't have a license. So let's take a look at your driving record. And then you didn't show up for court. Yeah, it shows you're not licensed. You had another one of these same charges back in 2021, and you didn't pay that ticket. I have a cheat sheet. How do you plead to that charge? You can plead guilty, and we'll talk about it. You can plead not guilty, and if you need, I could appoint an attorney for you.
Your Honor,
Yes?
I did speak with Mr. Hilliard this morning. He did not know, or he didn't think he owed or ever had another ticket. However, he does have an appointment with the Secretary of State to apply for his learner's permit here on Friday, this Friday or next Friday?
This Friday.
This Friday. And so we had discussed him pleading not guilty and maybe talking to the prosecutor, even though he does maybe have a prior. We'll try to avoid any further action on his record if possible.
He's got some baggage on here, but he has a 2017 no license that he paid. Somehow they've got your name on here, but there isn't anything in here. But you've got some unpaid stuff, mostly not having to do with driving. You were on a payment plan that I don't think you ever finished paying. We'll look into that. But I'm willing to set this out a month or so for a pretrial. You do have an appointment with the Secretary of State?
Yes, Honor.
When is that?
It is Friday, this Friday at 12.
To take the driving test or the written test?
The written test, sir.
All right. The prosecutor's position, and mine was when I was prosecutor, in the old days, like 100 years ago, if you got a driving suspended, it was pretty heavy. And if you got a second one, you had to do 5 days in jail. It carried a minimum 5-day jail sentence. But they didn't charge you with driving suspended. They charged you with no ops ever acquired. So I'm gonna adjourn this for a pretrial with the prosecutor. This is from the county prosecutor. And if you get squared away, at least a permit, the prosecutor can change this to a charge that doesn't go on your driving record. If you get your license and then you get convicted of this, they're just gonna take your license away. So you're doing what you've been needed to do for a number of years. But I think the prosecutor will give you some consideration if you come in here and show you've at least got a permit. So it's late April. Let's set it for late May. Set for pretrial for 8:30 on May 30th. I'll give you a notice. I also want you to check in at the counter and find out, my secretary underlined that you owed money, but it's not on the chart, so I can't tell. It looks like there's some unpaid stuff. Are you working somewhere
I'm doing handyman service.
in Constantine?
No, Sturgis.
What kind of stuff are you doing?
Anything house related, pretty much.
Thursday, May 30th. Bring proof of license or permit. All right, Mr. Hilliard, I hope you passed the test. Go get your permit, bring it in here, and the prosecutor will meet with you on the 30th and see if they can change this.
Okay, thank you.
I'll see you then. Are you Malachi Xavier Lewis?
Yes.
Okay, good morning to you. You got a ticket on April 11th for operating without a license, kind of similar to the last guy. Let's take a look at you, Mr. Lewis. I know your mom. I haven't met you before, I don't think. No, you're in the same boat. You got a no valid ops in 2019 that you haven't paid. And you also have a marijuana civil infraction that you haven't paid. It was US 131 and Broadway at 2:30 in the afternoon on April 11th. Are you working to get your license?
I'm trying.
All right, very good. I'm going to do the same thing with you as I did with the last guy. Are you living on 4th Street?
No, our house burned down
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. And so where are you staying?
at the Super 8 Hotel.
Still there? How long have you been there? Well, at least you got a roof over your head, but are you working someplace?
Not right now.
Right, tell me, have you actually made an appointment at SOS to get your license?
Not yet.
Well, you're gonna need to, because I'm gonna do the same thing I did with the last guy. I'm gonna continue this to the 30th of May and see if you can at least start the process to get a permit. What I call it is getting on the driving suspended merry-go-round. You get on it and you can't get off of it. And so if you can get your license, the prosecutor could change this to a charge called allowing another to violate the motor vehicle code. But you already got one of these and you haven't paid the fine. And then you got a civil infraction and you didn't pay that fine. So that's not very good. But if you, so did the last guy. But if you come in here with proof that you are working on your permit, and I want you to set up a payment plan on your unpaid fines. When you said you were working on it, what do you mean by that? You were, go ahead.
I haven't started yet.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want you to start. It's not that hard. You go to this. The problem is no one likes going to the Secretary of State office. You have to wait, and there's a way that you go online and you make an appointment for a specific time to go in. And we don't have one in Three Rivers. It's in Sturgis There are a couple in Kalamazoo. There's one in Dowagiac. Some people like that one, but you're gonna have to go to either Sturgis or Kalamazoo to get this started. I do all my stuff in Sturgis. Prosecutor pretrial. Do you work someplace?
No, sir.
Have you worked in the past?
Yes, sir.
What kind of jobs have you done?
Mostly factory and warehouse jobs.
All right, well, you're gonna need to get a job. You could probably walk over to Precision Wire and get a job this week. But you're gonna need to pay these old fines. I'm gonna give you a notice also. It's something you need to do anyway. This is just kicking you in the butt to make you do it. I'm going to give you this information about the stuff that you owe. Here's your notice. I want you also to go out to the counter and talk to the ladies about these unpaid fines you've got. You blew off 2 charges. One is for the exact same thing. And once you get on the driving suspended merry-go-round, you can't get off of it. So I want you to find out about paying these fines. I want you to call the Secretary of State, make an appointment, and find out what you need to do to go in and get your license. And then this nice lady here will look at your permit and she may give you a plea agreement that'll let you get your license. So I'll have the bailiff take you out to the counter. This is file 24654 SM. Good morning, sir. Thank you for your patience. You got some tickets. We're gonna discuss them. Some are under ordinance or Constantine, and some are under state law. No insurance is punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $1,000. Excuse me, fine of up to $500, not less than $200. You're charged with operating without insurance, operating without a valid license, and improper plate. They also show a civil infraction from the same date. Looks like they got that in here twice. You can't get convicted twice of the same thing. The 1-year misdemeanor insurance charge cannot be charged as an ordinance. It has to be under state law. The other charges are under Constantine ordinance. My advice is that we set this for a pretrial with the county prosecutor and the Constantine prosecutor, see if we can come to some resolution. You have insurance on the car now?
No, sir. That car is going to the scrapyard, actually.
It got impounded?
No.
All right.
He let us take the car home.
All right. Your driving record shows you haven't had a license in some time. You had one, and you got a bunch of unpaid tickets. Have you done anything to try to get your license back?
Your Honor, Indiana has my license so messed up. Every time I go to try to do it, they just lead me in a circle and I'm back to the beginning.
Yeah, and you can't get your Michigan license straightened out until you get your suspension lifted from Indiana. So you're in a catch-22. All the more reason why I think you could use a lawyer to help you with this. Do you have any objection to that? Plead not guilty and I get a lawyer to help you?
No, sir, I ain't got no objections.
What's that? All right, I'll show a plea of not guilty. How'd you get here this morning?
A friend of mine dropped me off.
Who's that?
Lindsay Evans.
All right, let's make sure you didn't drive here. All right, I'll set a pretrial, both Constantine, county prosecutor. And this I heard Ms. Jackson tell you, if you did scrap the car, I want you to bring in proof that you scrapped the car. And if you're gonna scrap it, I don't think there's any need to get a proper plate. The problem is your no valid operator's license charge. You've got some old tickets that you didn't pay. Again, in the old days, and I end up saying this a lot because I'm old, but they used to suspend your license, which I fully agreed with. If you get a ticket and you don't pay it, I'm in support of them suspending your license. If you get a ticket and you don't show up, they used to suspend your license. Under the wisdom of the Michigan legislature, they no longer do that. So there really isn't as much sanction if you don't pay your ticket. So you've got an unpaid ticket here in Centerville from 2019, and you have another ticket from 2018 where you didn't show up and you got defaulted. So although I think they cleared all that stuff off your license, so don't think you're gonna need to clear that. Your problem is you live in Michigan and you can't get a Michigan license until you get your Indiana suspensions dealt with. And I can't help you a whit in Indiana. So you can't drive. And if you drove here this morning, we're gonna have some discussion about it. I don't have an answer for you. I wish I did, but I'm gonna get an attorney.
I was hoping you did too.
Well, I wish I did. I used to say, I wish I had a magic wand that I could, you've already got a break by some of this stuff just disappearing. But you're on the driving suspended merry-go-round that I often talk about. I'm gonna set this for an attorney pretrial. Melissa, we're doing attorney pretrials on the last Friday of May, which will be the 31st, rather than the first Friday of June
Right, I recall that.
for May 31.
Put it on my calendar.
Okay. You don't have any vacation time left. You have to stay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I took 4 days vacation, but then on the way back, I got sick. So
Oh.
then I had to take a sick day.
Where'd you go?
I just took my girls down to Panama City for
Good
2
for you.
days.
Yeah,
Yes.
according to the cameras, he did drive here.
Okay, why don't you have a seat, Mr. Scott? We're gonna decide whether you're gonna go to jail this morning for lying to my face. Have a seat, have a seat, have a seat.